Hey guys, just a quick reminder that you can check us out on Reddit r/SplitViewPodcast or on Discord, link is on YouTube, and we're also on Apple Podcast and Spotify and also YouTube. Okay, thanks, bye.
Hey everyone, quick Tom, sing me a song.
No.
Tom.
I don't do singing, Geordie.
We're
Why would you
cursed
suggest
now.
this?
You've cursed this episode.
You've embarrassed me on this day.
Hey everyone, you're listening to the Split View. I almost said Flick View. The Split View.
Split View FM.
Yeah, we've made that joke before.
Did we record that joke?
No,
we did.
It's in like 3 episodes now.
Yeah, we did once at least, I think. Yeah.
Welcome. This is week 35. Thank you for tuning in to the 34 previous ones. Now, get ready for 35. Geordie is weak. And sitting across from me, by the way, is Tom.
Who is weak, but not this week.
Not this week.
Yeah.
He's weak in general, maybe, but it's not his week
Do you
to
think
be
people
weak.
understand that? Like, why we just keep calling each other weak?
Well, because it's called a recurring joke.
Yeah, but it's so dumb that it's not even a joke.
It is a joke. I think, it's something that we can call our own, Tom.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Is it something you would be happy calling your own, Johnny? Is it something you're not embarrassed calling your own?
Maybe, in 3 years' time, when we come back to this joke or something and we say, haha, Tom is weak after, like a couple of 100 episodes.
We don't reference these out of the recording booth.
Yeah.
These are just like in podcast jokes,
Well, I mean, we kind of switch it on when the podcast is on,
Yeah.
We go into entertainer mode a little bit, if you will.
I'm just always like this, Jordan. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I have I'm two-sided with this,
Jordy, why do people lick their fingers when they're counting money and opening plastic bags?
Because they're fucking absolute sociopaths.
That's correct.
I fucking hate people that do this. And if you do this,
There's a large majority of people who do
please
this.
check yourself into a psychiatric facility.
I've seen people have actual issues. They'll wear masks and they can't lick their fingers to open plastic bags. I don't understand that in the slightest.
Neither do I. And you know what? This actually segues into my point pretty well, which we don't have to get into right away. But my what I'm doing today is abnormal psychology. So this works perfectly.
Yeah. I just want to give a kind of a solution to this finger licking problem.
Don't be disgusting.
Yeah, and just pinch whatever you're trying to do. Like, you put your 2 fingers on the either side of a bag and then move them parallel to each other. And then the bag will
Working
open.
in customer service, you get this a lot, of course. And there is one customer who is a regular that I know of who absolutely deep throats their fingers for this. And it's fucking disgusting. And I have had it where I've picked up a $50 note or something and it is moist.
Yeah, I don't get it.
And it makes me want to vomit.
They say it's something to do with dryness of the fingers, but surely a drier finger would mean more grip to do whatever.
Theoretically.
I count drawers. I'm very quick at counting money and all that because I need to spot check a drawer and all that, and I can fucking shuffle notes instantly without having to lick my fingers. Especially at this time, this current climate, licking your fingers and then counting a whole bunch of money, that's disgusting. That's unsanitary.
I've never had to suck my fingers off to count anything or turn a page or something.
Literally
with all
never.
the reading that I do,
Yeah, books as well. That's disgusting. Just smudges and paper.
Oh my god, that's something I've never thought of. When you go to the fucking library, just think about how many people's fucking sputum you've had on all over your fucking fingers every time you turn a page.
Nice word of the correct definition.
Yeah, see, you're welcome. Yeah. Sometimes we do say factual things on this podcast. Sometimes.
Never in my life have I ever licked my fingers to do anything like that.
Other than to Dirty Harry yourself.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that means.
That's when you shove a couple fingers up your ass and you jerk off.
Thanks, Geordie. Thank you for describing that to me. Thank you for this definition.
You're welcome.
That's
probably done it. You just didn't know what the name was.
Yeah.
Everyone's done it. You just didn't know how to name. You said you had something you wanted to talk about for some preamble today.
I always think of things and I just write them down because they're really dumb.
Fair enough. And
the fingers licking thing was kind of right. That I have another thing written in here, which most of this stuff I'll literally just write a sentence and I don't understand what I was trying to convey.
All right, let's hit me with it.
I have written here, could we rebuild after an extinction event? Because I was wondering this, if 99, or no, maybe 90% of the population was extinct, and we were left with books and maybe parts of the internet, could society rebuild to the level it was before?
Depends who's alive. honestly.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Because if it was a bunch of Geordies left alive, we're not going anywhere.
But you have books and like, you know, part of the internet is what I'm saying.
I suppose if there was a bunch of Geordies, we'd all try our best, but that doesn't mean much would happen. We would try, but you know, you never know with the Geordies of the world. But I think it really does just depend on who's actually fucking alive. Because there are people who, you know, most people can read, dare I say.
Yeah.
Well is a different question, but most people can read enough to probably get the basis of how to rebuild or even build something.
Isn't it strange how, like, you can not be able to read but understand human language? Isn't that a weird concept?
Yeah, we're very expressive people, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's why when you go to another country or something, you can usually gesture something and then they'll understand it. Because most things are universal in that way. Like, you know, food, you can pretend to put something in your mouth and they go, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
You're looking for the bathhouse, that's down the end there.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, you're looking to eat ass.
Yeah,
yeah,
you're looking to suck dick. That's just that's just around the corner.
All right. I was kind of looking up this kind of... Today I had the weird, like, kind of thought, like, why do animals have tails? And I kind of Googled it. And a lot of it was to do with, like, emotion and body language and all that, so...
I think it's for balance.
Well, yeah, some animals it's for balance, but, like, cats and all that, but, kangaroos, obviously, but for a dog, I don't think a dog really needs to balance for any reason in particular.
I mean, the
standing up on its hind legs
can show emotions, but I don't think that's its intended purpose.
For canines specifically, I think it is to, like, communicate...
Really?
To humans and other canines.
That's kind of interesting.
And humans can grow tails. They can be born with tails that have vertebrae and all that, but...
That's fucking weird. That's Elon's goal, isn't it? Manufacturing cat girls?
Oh, yeah, dude. That'd be tight, dude.
Yeah,
that'd
man.
be cool.
Wouldn't it? Until you actually saw one and they'd be fucking horrifying in real life. I saw someone who made like a real life render of what a cat girl would look like and it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, but there's some subjectivity in that as well. Like, if it's like a floofy kind of tail, I reckon that would look cool. And like... The ears is kind of weird though. Like
that was the weird part.
Yeah.
And the massive eyes.
Would you still? I mean, the eyes. You don't really need the eyes or anything.
Don't have any eyes.
Yeah, just
make it like a faceless husk with a tail.
Don't even need like the skull, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just
the bottom half will do me.
Okay, cool. I wasn't gonna go there.
I thought that's what you were saying.
No. Why would you assume that?
I don't fucking know.
I have another thing. Have you heard about what Apple did recently?
What they do now?
They announced that they're gonna ditch Intel.
Okay.
Intel's out.
Why? So they can make their own brand or something?
They're gonna take the processor technology that they use in iPads and put them into MacBooks.
Okay.
Because it's ARM, which is like, you know, company makes processors. Like our phones have ARM Cortex chips in them, whatever.
Okay.
ARM processors are pretty nice. The Switch has a Tegra, which is an ARM processor. ARM processors are good because x86, which is what AMD and Intel use, is kind of like a shitty kind of processing architecture.
Right.
It's basically, they designed it to do a certain amount of things and then they just kept slapping on more instructions and now it's like bloated and like really shitty.
Right.
So Apple were like, hey, let's just kind of do what we've been doing for the iPhone and iPads and just use our own processors. But do you see the problem with that, Jordy?
Making their own processors.
Well, having a MacBook or Macs that have their own processors. What's going to happen to OS X?
Oh, there is literally no way you can get it fixed other than through Apple.
Yeah, that's true as well, but you can't run conventional Mac programs on there. You can't boot Windows on an ARM processor.
Right.
So you're basically locked to Mac OS.
God damn,
and
they love
locked to ARM processors, like ARM software. They have a interpolation layer, which is where you can take like applications that run on x86 and it'll on the fly translate it to ARM, but that's going to be shitty and slow and all that. And I was thinking this might force Adobe to get their shit together.
Maybe.
Because I'm willing to bet like 99% of the people who use Macs for like professional like things use Adobe products. And that's going to be really fucking
really much competition, is there, in that realm?
For like professional software.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Adobe kind of has it on
especially
lock.
for like digital what's it called? Graphic design or something.
Yeah, creative kind of
applications. They've got the market kind of
applications.
cornered there.
But they're kind of doing shitty stuff with it. Like me and Jordy recently have been bitching on Adobe because
Yeah, they kind of rebranded and it looks fucking terrible.
They didn't though. They just changed all their icons for no reason except Photoshop.
Yeah, and the startup.
Yeah,
Like,
the splash
screen, which is fucking terrible.
which automatically tabs you back in if you try to tab back out of it.
Yeah.
Which is fucking shitty. And
Fucking
it
terrible.
loads in staggered and it's slow.
Especially considering we use a lot of Adobe products to make this every week, so
Yeah, we use like
we see it a lot.
2 or 3 Adobe products
week
in
at
our
least.
like workflow. But Adobe is just fucking shit. Like they really do have a monopoly. Like
Oh yeah.
I have to use I had to use Audition when we first started the podcast because on Windows at least you can't use any other software to record 2 microphones at the same time. And Audition had that unlocked. They can do something called asynchronous I/O, and that meant I had to use Adobe products. And for a lot of things, like a lot of production environments will use Photoshop and Photoshop plugins and Premiere plugins, and like their entire workflow is locked down, so Adobe can do whatever the fuck they want, and you have no say.
Yeah.
Like it's real fucking shit.
I swear to God, companies like this, when they have a big ass fucking monopoly on things, that like their only next step will be to like sign a form that means you can never use another program until you die.
Okay.
Like, how else are they gonna
It's
fucking
basically
corner
like
you?
that though. Like they don't even need to do that because
Yeah.
they've integrated themselves so much into the professional and creative markets that
There isn't anything else you can use.
or at least everything else just doesn't work or is shitty or it doesn't
Yeah.
have the features or people don't want to use it because it's not an Adobe product. And I think this kind of switch to ARM is going to force them to maybe redo some of their code backend at least, which I'm happy about. I want programs to run faster.
No, of course.
That's I'm making an entire fucking game engine out of spite. So
Yeah.
talk about me with fucking performant applications and
It's
shit.
a real passion project, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. I literally was so angry at like the performance of a certain game that I'm remaking it. So yeah, that's what I had to talk about with ARM processors and shit. But like you were saying, the whole like repair thing. The only place to get the processors for MacBooks is going to be Apple now.
That's a fucking horrible thing to
So
hear.
like in the first like interim of having these Macs, they're not going to have issues for about a year or so, right? Or maybe someone spills water or coffee or something. The way that like Louis Rossmann, one of the best repairers of Macs, has to do it, he has to buy up old MacBooks and use them as donors.
Yeah.
Like organ transplants and shit, but like he's maybe going to have to end up buying new MacBooks as to cannibalize. Like that's weird.
Yeah.
Like he's already had issues like this, but because there's such a supply of MacBooks in the wild, they could just buy old ones and use them for parts. But this is going to be weird. It's going to be strange, you know?
I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens with that, won't we?
Yeah, it's just a weird move all around. Like, it really is.
Is this like happening in the very next iteration of MacBooks? Is this...
There's a MacBook coming out this year, or a series of Macs. There's going to be a new iMac that's apparently going to be fully bezel-less, which is kind of dope.
That sounds cool.
Imagine this, right? A Mac that can only run OS X. Can't run Windows.
Yeah.
You have to virtualize Windows.
See, here's if I had the money, right?
Can't run Linux either.
If I had the money, here's what I would have. I would have a good PC for my everyday stuff, and then when I went to go and, for instance, maybe edit the podcast, I would use a Mac for that, because that is a creative tool in my mind. It is not used for anything else other than being creative, and it doesn't even do that well because the components are not even that great in it. I have a Mac, like, right? I have all, because for my engine, I have to, every time I make a feature, I have to go and like run it on the target hardware. So I have a Linux machine, I have a Mac machine, and I have a Windows machine. The Mac machine is just, there's just something about it. Like, I'll try to run Audition on it because I tried to set up in here, and it's just, it's weird. It really is. There's something about it that there's a weird intentional delay to everything. Like when you click something on the dock, there's a measured time before it opens. When you do something on Audition, there's a measured delay that happens. Like, I guess you can get used to it, but it's odd.
Like,
I would literally have it, like, not even on the same desk. It would be in almost a different room.
Yeah.
So I could just use it when I had to use it for what it was used for, and then leave it alone and never touch it until I had to do it again.
Basically what I do with mine. I just leave it plugged in.
Or even now, considering, like, most of the people I know are getting into making music, that would be good to have as well, I feel like, because it's a more creative sort of...
There's a lot of... That's one thing about Macs, is that there's a lot of music production software that's only Macs, like Pro Tools, I think, is Mac only.
I think you're right, yeah.
There's another one. I watched this one dude, I think his name is Neil Drunkman on YouTube, when the Mac Pro came out, the big one, you know.
Yeah.
He did a video of him setting it up, like, with all his fucking 10 PCIe cards, his entire studio and all that. And he basically said he doesn't like Macs, but he's trapped in it.
Yeah.
Because he works on Cartoon Network and Cartoon Central, maybe Adult Swim.
Yeah.
He's worked on The Bravest Warriors, which is like that.
I think I've heard of it.
What's the dude who's the showrunner for Adventure Time?
I have no idea, dude.
Plinkman.
I have no idea.
He's he has a show called The Bravest Warriors, and Neil Drunkman works on there, and the files he gets sent are in, like, Pro Tools.
Right. Yeah.
So he has to use Pro Tools and all that. And that's just the industry standard. And all the plugins he uses are, like, Pro Tools only and all that. But, yeah, there's a whole kind of, like... I mean,
that's not... pretty much the only reason these days I would buy one.
It's not bad in a way. It's just dangerous having, like, your entire workflow be locked to one system. Because that's... Like... Monopolies are bad for a reason.
Well, yeah.
Because you have no alternative. Like, that's what Telstra used to do. Like, Telstra would just own, like, fucking backdrops and trunk lines for houses, and you can only get Telstra, and they can just charge whatever the fuck and provide you with whatever speed. Because what are you going to do, fucker?
Yeah.
You're going to get mobile internet? No.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. Like, they can give you any shit, and you just have to take it.
Kind of just have to shut the fuck up and deal with it, don't you? Until someone else comes along and tries to monopolize their idea.
Yeah, that's kind of what I had to talk about with Max, if you want to get into your topic.
Gotcha. All right. So today, after hearing about quite a few people's, quite like the episode that we did recently on, or I think it was your week, and we were talking about some abnormal psychology type things. You were talking about alien hand syndrome, I think. In one of them. Yeah. So I've got a decent list here of a few things, and, you know, how they can come about and what they are and all that type of shit. I just think, you know, we might spitball about them, maybe have a little bit of a chat on how scary they are. Maybe you have some of them, maybe you don't. I don't know. Let's find out. First one is called Alice in Wonderland syndrome. Have you heard of this?
Is that where you it's like a schizophrenia kind of thing? You think you're living in an alternate reality kind of shit?
Kind of.
I haven't heard of it. I'm just guessing.
Okay. You're kind of close. Alice in Wonderland syndrome, also known as Todd syndrome, is it causes one's surroundings to appear distorted. Noises may be quieter or louder than reality. Objects may be bigger or smaller than reality. And, or even, quote, you may even, quote, lose one's sense of velocity or textures. So
is that named after Todd Howard because he thinks there's a large audience that want to buy Skyrim every year?
I don't think so, but good joke. I don't know what this quote means. Lose one's sense of velocity or textures. I just assume it makes for a very interesting shitting experience.
What? I think that
if you don't know the texture or velocity of your shits.
I think that just means you lose 3D localization. Like, you don't know where you are in a room in relation to, like, everything else. You think you're moving, but you're not. You think a wall is, like, smooth and, like, you know, hollow or whatever, but it's really not.
That sounds fucking terrifying to me.
Yeah,
I was reading about this and I was just like, there's almost a way you wouldn't know if you had it. You would and you wouldn't.
You would see things fucked up though. Like, is this a psychosis or is it just a syndrome?
It's a syndrome.
So you could have this and somewhat live a normal life. You just have, like, no depth perception. You have a hard time guessing how big things are. You buy, like, furniture that's way too big or way too small, that kind of a thing.
Likely you would have trouble eating, I would imagine.
Yeah, if you thought your steak was all slimy and gooey and shit and was on fire.
Or you would, like, think you had bought a fucking massive ass steak, but you bought, you know, a tiny little one, and you go hungry all the time.
Yeah, I guess.
As well.
There's a condition that one of the streamers I watch has where they feel no hunger, but it's a psychological condition. They literally don't feel the drive to eat.
That's
like,
weird.
If they don't have a timer set to eat, they will literally starve and die and not question it.
That's fucking
it's not
weird.
It's not a physical condition, it's a psychological condition. Like, they have breaks, like, on the stream, the time will go off and it's like, okay, time to eat my grapes and all that. They enjoy food, but their brain just literally does not tell them to eat, so they will starve and die.
That's fucking
that's
worrying.
weird. That's really strange.
Worrying.
Yeah.
All right. Have you heard of apotemnophilia, if I'm saying that correctly?
Is that a fear of something?
Well, not quite. So it's also known as body integrity disorder, and it is a neurological disorder.
That's where you want to, like, remove parts of your body, isn't it?
That's what it is, yeah. It gives the person a desire to amputate or badly damage healthy parts of their body. It is not common for doctors to just amputate healthy limbs, of course. So some sufferers of this condition do it themselves at home.
Yeah, I've seen those, like, 4chan posts of people wanting to, like, cut off their breasts and, like, blind themselves chemically and all that.
Yeah.
And then, like, cut off their limbs and then, like, feel, like, euphoria after it's cut off and all that.
Well, that's the thing. People who have done this or have managed to get their parts amputated, like, medically, professionally, almost never regret it, because this is such a debilitating problem that they, even if it was, like, both of their arms has, like, happened before.
Yeah.
They still don't regret it because it's just that fucking debilitating.
That's more commonly known as, like, an amputee fetish, but it's kind of miscategorized since it's not necessarily a fetish. It's more of, like, a fixation or, like, a...
I don't think, like, fetish to me implies it's sexual.
Well, yes
but,
and
like,
no.
It's I think in this case it's an obsession to get rid of them because in your mind there is something wrong with it. And therefore you must get rid of it.
I mean, I'm sure it, like, manifests different ways and all that, but isn't it great how you can have a chemical imbalance in your brain that makes you want to cut off your own limbs? This is
kind of like, after I've spoken about all this, I really just wanted to talk about how fucked up the human mind can get with absolutely no prompting whatsoever. Like, this can just happen to you, any of these things. Some of them you probably have to be born with, but, like...
Have I talked about this weird, like, sleep thing that I have? Like, I changed my bed orientation recently, and the first night I slept in it, I had, like, sleep paralysis, kind of hallucinations and all that shit. And now, for some reason, if I sleep with my door open, the trickling of my cat's water fountain sounds like talking. And then as I'm drifting into sleep, I'll start hallucinating voices in my room. And it's kind of weird.
Oh my god, that sounds fucking terrifying.
The thing is, I know it's happening. Like, I'm fine with it. Like, because I've done lucid dreaming before, and one of the techniques is, like, sleep to wake, where you lay down your bed perfectly still and you feel your body paralyzing, and then you, like, start imagining what you would like to do, and then you're in there. But you get hallucinations when you do that. Like, your brain... I guess it's just overactive. It starts, like, feeding on whatever you're, like, experiencing. Like, if you think about spiders crawling on you, then you'll, like, start feeling spiders and all that.
I don't like spiders that much. Neither of us do.
Yeah, it's slightly going away. Like, I can sleep, like... I mean, I've always been sleeping fine in there. It's just I always have to, like... It's funny. Like, I'll just be sleeping and, like, oh, yeah, there's hallucinations. Okay, cool. Yeah. Hi, hallucinations. I would like to sleep, please. Don't yell at me.
This is not a problem I've ever had, because I don't usually sleep that deeply or quote-unquote even that well every night, because I'd never really wake up feeling like, yeah, it's a brand new day. I'm just kind of like...
You wake up at like 5 a.m. though.
That doesn't matter.
Yes,
you can wake up at 5 a.m. and still be like, this was a shit night's sleep.
You don't have insomnia. I literally have insomnia.
No, I'm not saying that I'm like, you know, I have a massive debilitating problem. I just, like, when I've tried to do lucid dreaming or all that type of shit, it just doesn't work for me. Because I think you need to have, like, I've never remembered a dream that I've had in the past fucking year, probably. Yeah. I just don't feel like... I think everyone dreams, you just whether you remember it or not is different.
One of the first ways I tried to lucid dream is doing, like, the integrity check thing. Like, during the day, just look at your hands and be like, okay, I have 5 fingers, there's a groove there and a groove there. Because when you look at your hands while you're dreaming, they look all fucked up, and, like, you have, like, 8 fingers on one hand or no fingers. Or perfectly smooth, and that tells your brain, oh, this isn't real. And that relies on you having a good memory of, like, your dreams and all that, and, like, being able to internalize that kind of shit.
To remember that I have only 5 fingers.
Yeah, but when you're dreaming it, your memory works differently. Like, it's odd. So, yeah.
I've always wanted to do it, but all the horror stories of fucking sleep paralysis demons makes me not really want to try it that much anymore.
It's not that bad. It's not. Like
I have an worked imagination, and I think if I did do it, I would have some fucking horrific shit happen to me.
The worst part is when you don't know it's sleep paralysis. That's what's really the terrifying part. And when you wake up like from like a dream where you fall over or something and you're still paralyzed and your brain's like, oh, why am I paralyzed? And it starts inventing reasons why you're paralyzed. Like you'll imagine someone's holding you down and try to stab you in the chest. Like that's, that's what happens.
Not that fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to a little, I guess, lighthearted one. I feel kind of bad for wanting to laugh at this.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of boanthropy or I don't know how to say it. Boanthropy. I'm guessing boanthropy.
I have no idea.
This illness makes the person believe that they are a cow. Specifically a cow.
Yeah.
And often leads them to act like one. People have been found in fields with cows on all fours eating grass.
Yeah, they refuse to leave. They're like, don't talk to me, I'm a cow. They moo at them and all that.
They feel like they're one of the herd.
Yeah.
And it is believed that the onset of this disorder comes from dreams or hypnotism.
They get like pissed off if you tell them they're not a cow. They're like, fuck you, I'm a cow. And
exactly.
Yeah.
There was even mention of this in the Bible. There was a quote that says he was driven from men and did eat grass as oxygen.
What the fuck?
End
like,
quote.
how does your brain do that? Like, that's such a complicated thing for your brain to want to do. Like,
and also, I could not find that passage in the Bible, so that could be a load of old ass, but I'm not sure.
You Control F the Bible and didn't find it?
Okay. No, I put that in and then put Bible on the end of that quote.
Oh, yeah.
To see if that would show anything.
Just the Bible?
Or just Bible, so it would show me religious excerpts of such, but it didn't.
Like, how do you know? Have I told you about like cosmic ray bit flipping?
No.
So when people are designing custom silicon for like electronics and shit, like electronics are just ones and zeros, right? Like, you know, you can have something 1 or a 0. There is an actual constant value which you have to like apply where cosmic rays from the fucking sun will come and hit your electronics and randomly flip a bit. That's what this has happened in speedrunning before. A bit got flipped on someone's console while speedrunning and it allowed them to do like a clip or something like that.
What?
And like that kind of thing can happen with your brain. Like you can have a very poignant cosmic ray come and like hit a neuron in your brain. And like the thing about this, like, Bowen syndrome, whatever, boanthropy, that's such a complex thing, though. Like,
yeah,
a lot of your brain has to be fucked up for that to, like, happen, you know? Like, that's such a high-level concept. That's not like, oh, the cow that acts like a cow bit got flipped in your brain.
Yeah.
Like,
the interesting thing to me is that there is a bunch of they're called different things for thinking that you're different animals, right? But the fact that there is a name means that there is more than one person that this has happened to.
Like, is this a physical ailment or is it a psychological ailment?
Thing.
And what's the difference between those two?
I think I don't believe that you can have anything that changes what you do every day in some way and that be physical unless you've broken something.
Well, you can have a tumor pressing on certain parts of your brain and just like have schizophrenia. Or like
that's true. You can, yeah.
Because, like, you think about it like this: your psychological like profile is software, and your brain is the hardware. Like, your brain has to run the software. If the hardware's fucked up, it's going to influence the software.
Well, that's true. That's true.
But the line between that, like,
it's incredibly possible that a tumor or something could cause this.
Can this? You said it's like from dreams. Can you contract this? Like, can you suddenly?
Apparently, you can. That is the only way it said you can get
what
this.
What causes? Like, what dreams must you have? Like,
I have no idea. I don't know if you can somehow get this if you go to Vegas for a night and you get hypnotized on stage and all of a sudden you think you're a fucking cow.
Hypnosis is so fucking strange. Like, that's just when you're a kid, you're like, oh yeah, hypnosis, that's totally real.
Yeah.
But then when you like grow up, you're like, no, hypnosis is like totally subjective and like you have to be an extremely susceptible individual to be hypnotized, and even then there's kind of a gray area there. The
interesting thing to me is that we're all so different that it can work on some and not work on other people.
The thing is, we're so different, but biologically we're the same.
Isn't look the same.
But our brains have like common layouts. Like, the sections of our brain are common. Like, isn't that weird?
It's so fucking, like, this is... Because I was also listening to one of our old episodes, which I like to do every now and then. And I was listening to one that we did where, like, all life is simulated.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we were kind of getting deep into, like, how we know things are real and all that type of shit in that one. And it's kind of like everyone looks completely identical, right? There is the human.
I mean...
But the fucking... The insides, which we can never know unless you're fucking Charles Manson or Jack the Ripper, are all different. You know what I mean? Like, I could have... My brain could be, you know, a million times different to yours, even though it is technically the same body part.
No, what I'm saying is that, like, yeah, it's the same body part, but the physical layout of the brain is also similar between people. Like... You have, like, the certain sections of your brain that do the same. I was a difference since we're, like, different hands and, like, I have weird fucking genetic deformations and that, but it's just such a strange concept to me. Like, you can just dream about something that, like alters your brain in such a way where... I guess it's like a stress thing. Like, you know, work is all stressful. I wish I could just be a cow. And then they dream about being a cow and how peaceful that is. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to ditch this stressful work and then just be a fucking cow, bro.
Cow, and yeah. I you know what? In hearing you say that sounds like it could very well be it. Because I've heard of, you know, all this shit where if you're dreaming about certain things, this, that, the other, it can make indications on what's happening in your life. Like, I think the classic one is if you dream about someone's chasing you, then, you know, your life's going too fast. You need to slow down a bit, all that type of shit, you know? It's like, that's just what I've heard that keeps coming up when people tell. Like, it's... I don't know if you can look into this type of shit. I mean, there are people that study sleeping, and I'm sure that there is some semblance to what happens in your dreams to how you're feeling in real life.
We've all had, like, thoughts of, like, oh, I wish I could be just dead, but, like, look at the internet and also not be dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wish I could just... I don't have to partake in life kind of thing, but I don't want to, like, be dead necessarily.
Yeah, I totally get you.
And I guess it kind of, I mean, that's a powerful emotion. That's a powerful feeling. So I guess it can affect you like that.
Absolutely it can. All right, shall we go on to the next one?
Yeah.
Let me get my notes back up again. All right. This next one, I had heard of this one before. I believe it's called Capgras delusion or Capgras. I believe it's Capgras, Capgras. I am very sorry if I'm butchering any of these. I'm not trying to. I just don't know how to speak the language that I'm fluent in.
All right.
I'm going to go with Capgras delusion. This horrible disorder makes the sufferer believe that everyone around them is an imposter. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
I'd heard of this.
I know about imposter syndrome because that's a very common thing in my field of work, but...
That could quite possibly be another name for this.
That's like the reverse of that, like... You just... that probably gets miscategorized as, like, schizophrenia. It's like a subset of it. You think everyone's an imposter and all that, but that must be so shitty. Like,
well, I've got a story here from someone about this. So there was a 74-year-old woman who suffered quite badly from Capgras disorder.
She murdered her husband because he was a goddamn disillusion.
Well, I don't think she murdered him, but that's exactly what happened. Like, she lived in fear every day, thinking that her husband was replaced by someone who was trying to actively kill her. Like, it is extremely rare to get this, though, apparently.
Marriage, am I right?
And it can occur when a person suffers massive brain injury or sufferers from dementia, schizophrenia, or epilepsy are also at risk of getting this.
Because that's a common thing with schizophrenia. That's where a lot of, like, the 5G conspiracy shit comes from. Like, have you heard of...
I think everyone who believes in 5G is schizophrenic. It starts like that, and then people don't have control of their life, so they want to believe in something because they can take control and they can gain notoriety. Have I shown you Temple OS before? It sounds familiar to me.
Yeah. Have you heard of the Lord and Savior Terry Davis?
No.
Yeah, he passed away recently. I think he got hit by a train, maybe.
Oh my god. How do you get hit by a train? Did he jump in front of a train?
Probably.
Okay.
That doesn't seem out of character for this gentleman.
I see.
I smell coffee again. This gentleman, do you smell that? Can you please tell me if you smell that?
I don't smell it, dude.
Fucking hell, why does this happen?
This makes for some good entertainment right here.
It happened last episode. It happened in Flickview, maybe? No, it happened in Splitview last episode.
I don't think they care.
Well, I don't know.
Which one it happened
People died, what am I trying to say?
Some guy jumped in front of a train.
No. Write this down, because this is part of my diagnosis of when I suddenly pass out. you know, suddenly die. You can be like, well, he smelled coffee a week prior.
Oh, I
he
see.
smelled
This
it
is
again.
your eulogy right here.
Eulogy? Excuse me?
No, not your eulogy. What's it?
Legacy?
No, there's a word for it.
Okay, I really smell coffee, and there's no one home right now, and the doors and windows are closed in this room. What is that?
This is great content.
Okay, yeah, all right. Terry A. Davis, whatever. This man, this God-fearing
I smell
man.
the coffee.
Okay, thank you. That really concerns me. This man, right? He was into the computers and stuff. He figured himself a bit of a whiz kid, wonder kid kind of thing.
Bit of a tech genius, if you will.
Tech prodigy maybe.
Prodigy,
yeah.
Shit, son.
He saw Windows. He saw Mac OS. He saw Unix. Those were not the God's operating systems. Those were not the holy code. So this man, he created Holy C, the God's programming language. And with this, God told him, you must build a 16-bit operating system. It must be exactly 640 by 480, supporting VGA basic driver support, no networking, VGA input, PS2 input, no USB drivers, cannot run on physical hardware, and you must program Bible games. 2D ray-traced Bible games, Bible verses. You must be able to decompile and recompile all the code instantly, and the code must flow at the top of the screen like the fucking Matrix or some shit.
Sounds like a good dude to me.
Yeah.
He sounds like a fun guy to be around.
He also was very racist and called black people spooks and expletive.
Why did you let me say he was a good guy and then say that?
And he has many videos of him on YouTube walking past black-skinned individuals, calling them you know what, and then like them chasing him running, and him screaming that they're spooks and running away.
Oh my god.
And then he did live streams where people would ask him about certain features and he told them to fuck off. This is the God's operating system.
Jesus Christ.
By the way,
why did you let me tell everyone that he was a good guy and then say that shit?
Because in the eyes of God, he is holy. He's divine.
I see.
He literally created an entire programming language and compiler called Holy C. Creating a fucking programming language, a competent compiler toolchain, is fucking difficult. And he created this just because God told him to. His operating system...
ways.
Oh, it does, yes, very much. His operating system is like literally like a compressed version of schizophrenia on a virtual machine.
Yeah.
It can't run on actual hardware. He designed it intentionally to run in a virtual machine. And he literally, people asked him, why is it running this resolution? Why is it 640 by 480? And he literally said God told him to make it 640 by 480.
Can't argue with him.
Supporting basic VGA drivers only, because NVIDIA and AMD are the work of the devil. And also Intel HD graphics. But
I mean, I get it. You can't do much talking back to God. He doesn't speak that much.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. There's a program where you can speak to God in the operating system is called Temple OS, I think. Tome OS, Temple OS. Literally, the source code for the applications is just scrolling in the title bar of it for no particular reason.
That's some
and he made an
shit.
He made an entire 3D graphics and physics simulation just to run fucking shitty ass 2D Bible games.
Someone's got to do it, man. Someone's got to do God's work.
This man is actually a fucking like prodigy of programming. He is a fucking genius when it comes to this shit.
And he used it for good.
Exactly. He totally wasn't extremely racist. And oh my god, I forgot about this story as well.
I keep fucking forgetting he's a shitbag.
Well, you're doing it ironically. He told his story once before he made Temple OS, before God officially spoke to him. He was cruising in his sweet ass Subaru, Geordie.
Oh yeah,
down his way,
Subi gang,
down the hizzy way, and then God gave God or something, or maybe his brain, or maybe the people who talked to him in his brain, in his car, whatever, said, Terry, the government is tracking you. You must ditch your vehicular motor vehicle, whatever the fuck. And then he jumped out of the vehicle at high speeds. He caught up to the vehicle. He started wrenching open the panels of the vehicles trying to find a tracking device. He then ran down the highway, I think naked maybe, and then he got arrested.
Of course he was naked. Why wouldn't he be?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the tracking device was on his clothes.
Maybe it was. Maybe it's inside him.
This man is fucking insane. And he is now dead because I think he literally jumped in front of a train.
Here's something interesting about this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
isn't it kind of fucking like you assume when people are quote unquote crazy like this, that they're incapable of doing anything else. And if he wrote an entire fucking programming language and all that shit,
he wrote an entire operating system.
Like, he did all that shit whilst seemingly quote unquote crazy.
He did it because he was crazy.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's so fucking weird how the brain works. It's so fucking interesting to me.
Yeah.
This is why I love this shit. This is why, not gonna lie, part of the reason why I started this fucking podcast with you is because, like, talking about this shit is just, ooh, it's sublime. Oh, sorry for that. That probably sounded terrible.
I'm quoting right here. The police and county sheriff said they would have to take him down because he showed a willingness to kill if God asked him to.
Oh.
They were wanting to take him down because he literally stated that he would kill someone if God told him to.
That's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
The wrath of Old Testament God in one man.
This man is like...
He's not ready. The world is not ready.
I'm going to show you a picture of him. He looks exactly what you would imagine a crazy programmer, fucking God-fearing individual looks like.
Oh my God, yep.
Yeah, he's literally looks like a crazy programmer, dude. Like, literally.
Fucking
schizophrenic guy. I'm trying to find, like... What I think he did jump in front of a train. I don't know why.
If you're not seeing any results for him dying, then he's...
No, he's dead. He's definitely dead.
Okay.
He's 100%. He's fucking mega dead, dude.
Well, he's just hanging out programming with Jesus.
Oh, yeah, he was hit by a train.
Oh.
I wasn't imagining that.
Or jumped in front of a train?
Well, trains run on tracks, Geordie, so I don't think a train can swerve
That's
into
why I
you.
was so confused when you said that I don't know how that happened by accident. But, whatever.
Oh my God, I'm just reading this right. The train engineer said he thought the death was suicide, but the police report stated it was accidental. How do you accidentally get hit by a train?
I don't know. Fuck. Now I have more questions than I started with.
Yeah, this man is insane. Like, he's crazy. He has, like, live streams on YouTube. I think I've said this, but he makes physics simulations and shit just for fun.
Yeah.
Like, he's really good at programming. He really is.
Or was.
Well, yeah, was. Fuck you.
All right, let's move on, shall we?
This is what his operating system looks like, by the way.
That's like nothing in my brain can register what's happening there.
Yeah, like, I don't think he even knows what's happening. Down the bottom of the screen is just literally like printouts of memory locations and debug information just for no reason. That literally looks
like if you paid a movie company or a props company to make an old type of hacker screen. It
looks like the operating system from Jurassic Park where the child is like, it's a Unix system. I know this.
Yeah. That's so fucking funny.
Yeah. Alrighty. Next crazy ailment.
Next crazy ailment is called Cotard delusion. You might have heard of this one as well. This delusion makes the person believe that they are quite literally dead. Sometimes the person may believe they are a ghost.
Oh, is that where they lay down in coffins and then people tell them to fuck off and they're like, fuck you, I'm dead?
Not in so many words. It's actually much worse than that. They believe that their body is decaying and or that they've lost all of their blood and organs.
I think I have heard of this, maybe on Reddit or something.
I've heard of this because they actually did, I believe, one episode of Hannibal about this.
Alrighty.
About someone who had this or something, and that was quite interesting hearing about it. Not reading more into it because it's fucking horrifying.
Okay.
Sufferers often feel that their own bodies are rotting away, and it is common among sufferers of Cotard to also have severe depression, of course. Not knowing whether you're alive or not will do that to you, and even starve themselves to death due to the fact that they just don't even think they're alive to begin with.
The concept of dying versus alive has always kind of been strange to me in a way, because from like there's always the thing of like, if aliens were to visit and they were immortal, they would have no concept of death or like being alive, and they would just accidentally kill and not understand. Like,
yeah,
to have that kind of view of yourself must be such a strange concept. Like, literally not understanding whether you're alive or death or what it means to be alive.
It got me thinking, like, you would look in the mirror and what would you even see?
Yeah, what would your brain even internalize about yourself?
Would you see anything? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because you thought you were dead.
You don't see necessarily. You have a reconstruction of what your brain is perceiving. Like, yeah. I don't know if you know this, but like there is actually a very limited field of view on your eyes that is actually high resolution. I think the figure is like half of your vision is actually black and white.
Really?
Yeah, and then your brain just fills in the colors. Like a tiny ass field of view in the center of your eye is like 8K, and then it goes to 2K, and then it goes to like 480p black and white.
Huh.
But, you know, I'm exaggerating and all that, but like...
See, fuck, man, this is taking
And you have
me
the
down
blind
some
spot,
rabbit
of course.
holes again.
Like, I just found my blind spot instantly when my thumb has disappeared, but yeah.
Like, the fact that your brain does so much interpreting to project into my brain hole what is happening.
Yeah.
Like, we could quite literally be seeing different rooms in some way.
Well, yeah, we are.
We have talked about this. This is bringing up something because I was saying, like,
I was talking about colors and all that. Like, we see different colors.
Like, you would be looking at and seeing and perceiving different things in the room than I am, even though the room itself is identical. You know, I could be focusing on one thing that you've never even noticed was in here.
It speaks to the complexity of the task of like trying to integrate computers with brains and all that, and like how complicated that must be.
I have no idea how, because I mean, we've talked about on the show before that I think it's pretty safe to assume that the only way technology is going to advance from here is into us.
I was going to say that, yeah,
like
into us,
and I don't even begin to know how you would do that.
I think Gaben is literally working on that. Like Valve has a big portion just working on like, you know, brain integration shit.
Yeah.
It's going to be a cool future.
Exactly. I mean, the only fucking exposure that I have to this is your implant, and I don't even know how you could get more advanced than that. Like, how
there's one recently, there's a temperature one you can get, which is actually proving to be very useful for like detecting if you have COVID. Like, you can have a strip implanted in the back of your wrist or, like, on the back of your palm that has the most accurate temperature sense you could get. Like, save for, like, stabbing yourself with a thermometer. And based on, like, algorithms predicting what, like, temperature rises and all that, you can predict if you're going to get coronavirus based on your temperature.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder
that's a practical use.
How expensive that would be to do.
I can look up the price.
Because I imagine this is something that you would have to pay a little bit for if it's that accurate, but...
Well, because it's only...
If it saves your life, I suppose it's worth it, right?
The reason it's so accurate is because it's literally inside your body. Like, it's...
Oh, okay, so it's not necessarily more...
It's direct contact.
Yeah.
Like, if you try to measure the temperature of something, it varies based on, like, you know, thermal conductivity, like air exposure... like movement, but this, since it's inside of your body, is so accurate. Also, like, I don't think accurate, like, it's not necessarily
it's
resolution.
More accurate than if you just shove something under your up your ass.
It's like it's why like rectal thermometers are so accurate, because it's the internal temperature of yourself, you know. What the fuck is this? Custom services? All right, I'm trying to find the I'm on dangerousthings.com, the supplier of my biological implants.
Dangerous. Oops, sorry. Just fucking whack.
Very appropriately named.
Well, yeah, I'll say.
Yeah. Do they not sell this anymore? They have a credit card version as well that I want to get, which is like a reprogrammable NFC that does crypto stuff as well.
It's pretty cool.
Bluetooth temperature sensing chip, $39.
$39.
Yeah, because it.
But you do have to do it yourself.
Yeah. This one is especially freaky because you have to cut open a flap in your skin and then slide it under.
All right.
Whereas my one is just...
we're done with that.
Oh, actually, no, this one's cylindrical. This one's fine. It hurts a lot. It is
I fucking imagine.
Getting my implants, it was like one of the most painful things I've experienced. And... because my mum was doing it and she can't feel my skin, like I had to grab her hand and push it into my skin, because since she wasn't, my muscles are tough and all that, because she wasn't going in far enough. I have a video of my first one going in.
I remember seeing that.
The second one, like my second one was actually really good. It's really close to the surface. Like I can literally touch it and feel it, and like I can somewhat feel it clicking every now and then when my bones move and all that. But it wasn't going in further enough, so I had to grab her hand and push the needle into my skin.
Nope. Yeah. Can't do this. Can't do it. All right, next one. This one I'm almost certain you've heard of. This is called dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah.
You know, it's also known as multiple personality disorder. It's when a person has usually 2 to 3 identities that they cycle through. Here's the terrifying part, other than having 3 completely different identities and you're not aware of any of them, is that the switch can happen at a seemingly random time.
Isn't it also nicknamed Jekyll and Hyde syndrome?
I believe so, yeah. I think that's more of a like street term for it.
Street term.
It's not like a what's a slang term
It's a
for
hood
it.
term, bro.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
That's what you.
I meant to say like a slang type way of saying it.
Colloquial name.
That's what a nice word of saying it is.
That's the first time I've ever pronounced that properly.
A personality could last a day, week, month, year, or even more before cycling.
I always remember that image of those two ladies that are like, oh, I have 48 separate personalities and some of them don't even know how to cook, so we go days at a time without eating, and they're two enormously large women. I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay, cool.
Now, see, usually this makes it impossible for a sufferer to be told that they have this disorder, and means that most people who have the condition are forced to live in psychiatric facilities, because it can quite literally... How do you live when a year down the track you might be a completely different person?
Or a minute down the track.
Or a minute down the track, and then a minute later be someone different again.
What if one of your personalities is probably like an evil manifestation of yourself that wants to murder people and freak out.
Most people have probably heard of this because of movies and TV shows and all that type of shit. Like, it is such a common thing to take it. What was that one movie? Was it called?
Psycho?
Well, yeah, Psycho. But there was one... Split. Yeah. That was what it was. That came out somewhat recently, which was like 2013, actually. I think that movie or something, maybe a bit later. But it's
Directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
It was too, wasn't it? It's just so commonly depicted in media that I thought I would actually like talk about a little bit more what it actually is. And to me, like, I don't know how long one of these could last, but one of us could potentially have it, and we just haven't cycled yet.
Yeah, like with a lot of these ailments, they can be caused by like emotional or physical trauma. Like you can just develop this, and
I'm quite certain if you develop schizophrenia or something, like a tumor, like we've talked about, this could definitely happen from schizophrenia. I'm almost certain it could. It
says a lot about like the architecture of the brain, where like you can just host multiple personalities, and that's perfectly fine. Well, that works reasonably well. Like, is that crazy? Like, how does that work?
The fact that we have... we use so little of the brain, right?
That's not true.
Is it not true?
No.
No?
That's not true at all.
I feel like...
Think about it like this. Your brain is a processor, and you're just at idle like 10%, but if you need to do something complex like, walk, it'll just spike up. Like, it's not necessarily there a fixed function like hardware in your brain. Your brain can just do anything. You don't use 10%.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you could be shot in the brain and have a reasonable chance of being perfectly fine.
Well, that's true. That's a good point, yeah. I don't know. I feel like if it is this powerful to have multiple of them, and then also have the power to not even know the other one existed.
Yeah, like the memories just aren't connected, or at least they're convinced they're not connected or something.
Like, this type of shit is just so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because how do you begin to comprehend it?
I don't think it's ever going to be solved. I don't know how you go about that.
Could.
How do you debug a brain?
Some fucked up guy with a worrying amount of licenses and things on people. Yeah, let me just step through and analyze the call stack. Mengele.
Let me backtrace the brain's call stack, to figure out where this particular thread ended and why is that processing that data.
I'm sure everyone is fucking hysterically laughing on that coding joke.
Let me just do a GDB on my brain.
I'm not even understanding this.
GDB is just GNU debugger.
All right, here is I have two more. Okay, so this one is called... Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but I'm pretty sure it's called Kluver-Bucy.
Okay.
B-U-C-Y.
Is that like a Borat fucking invention?
No.
Kluver-Bucy. That's a pink guy character.
I believe this is a person's last name, or two people's last names.
Okay.
Because it's hyphenated.
Maybe even three. Maybe even three people.
Maybe even. All right. This disorder gives people the desire to eat inanimate objects.
Isn't that just pica or pica?
Well, this is kind of a bit different because it can also mean you have sexual attractions to inanimate objects.
Oh.
Sufferers often have trouble recognizing objects at all, or even people that should be familiar to them. The onset
so just try to eat people?
Quite possibly. Okay. The onset of the disorder is hypothesized, because no one really knows how this comes about, to be severe damage to the temporal lobe. But no one is really sure.
That's what processes your perception of reality.
Yeah, there is no known cure for Kluver-Bucy syndrome as of yet. But
That's
now
horrifying.
I have seen... Have you seen all those TLC videos of, like, there's that one girl who wanted to fuck roller coasters?
She got married to a roller coaster.
Yeah, and then there was another girl who, like, married a train station.
Oh, yeah.
And the Eiffel Tower or something, or the Eiffel Tower cheated on her or something.
Some of them are gotta be, like, hammering it up, you know.
I have a feeling that some of them might be a little bit of an attention grab.
Some of it's gotta be, like, fetish instead of just, like,
I think you're right there,
physical,
too. But, like, the
mental
fact that
ailment.
You could not be able to tell the difference between...
I think they can tell the difference. I think they can.
In this case, like, if you have Kluver-Bucy, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between me and a chair.
And a nice ham sandwich.
And a nice ham sandwich, so you would just gobble me up, you know?
Be like a fish, be like...
Blub, blub, my man. Blub, blub. All right. I'm realizing we're heavily approaching the 1 hour mark, which might be our longest one. So let me just...
Oh, dude, it's going to be like half an hour with what are we going to cut out, dude?
Every
cut
time.
out all that stuff
This is, again, called a throwback.
It's going to be a 10-minute episode once I'm done cutting in the cutting room floor.
Yeah, the cutting floor. the deboning room.
All the little, you know, little strips of tape are going to be on the ground in the cutting room floor.
That's a little joke for my dad there.
What?
The deboning room one.
Okay.
He's telling me about the horrors in a deboning room he had to go in once.
I've worked in a meat factory, and that's some fucked up shit right there.
Doesn't sound fun. It was
the most dangerous place I've ever worked in. And
I can imagine.
Did I tell you that the section I worked in literally exploded a week or two after I left?
No.
I'm like, I don't think we have enough time to tell this, but yeah, I worked.
It doesn't matter.
I worked in a meat factory for like a week or so, and I was one of the people pushing the carts and all that, like around the entire factory, like the bone room or whatever, or the cutting room. It was very integrated, and they had a conveyor belt system on the roof with cow just hide. Literally, there would just be cow hides on a conveyor belt through the entire factory, and you had to dodge them. You had to weave in between the cows and all that, all the carcasses, and the machine I used to clean the buckets was just this high pressure, high steam thing. If you put your hand in there, your hand would be gone. You would be just bones.
Jesus.
And I just delicately push them in, and I get this little cart that's literally welded together out of scraps, and then like run it through, weaving in between cows, down the side of a place where above me was people with power saws that could easily dangle down and like cut me in half. And there were high pressure lines for cleaning of the cutting tools that were literally like... The side of the cart would hit it, and the pipes had scratches from where the cart would repeatedly hit it. And I would put the little boxes in this tiny ass hole in the wall right next to a big conduit panel, and I would spend a good like 5 minutes like slotting in the things. And a week or two after I left, the conduit panel right next to where I would be for 5 minutes literally exploded and then hospitalized 6 people.
Jesus Christ!
6 people. 2 of them were in critical condition.
Fucking hell. You left at a good time then, I guess.
That place has been, like, talked about shutting down for, like, years at this point.
It certainly sounds like it's fucking a good idea.
I think I must have told this I think I told this to one of my, like, uni classmates. I literally had, like, a crowd of people, like, because I was just in a shared room, and a crowd of people just staring at me in awe, like, what the fuck? In the introduction or induction, there was this dude just kind of in the corner, like doing the cool kid thing of arms crossed, leaned back in the chair, like he'd done this 10 times before, because he had done this 10 times before. He had been fired and rehired 10 times.
How does that happen?
He was involved in a forklift racing accident where someone died. A forklift fell on someone and crushed him into a pulp, and he somehow still works there.
This is now the second time in this podcast I have laughed and said something too early.
That's fine.
Holy shit.
Fired and rehired 10 times.
How does that
I was genuinely concerned for my safety once I learned that fact.
I have been doing management for most of my working life at this point now. And I don't know how that happens.
Because the factory is so vital that they can do anything they want, because people need their meat. They have like a mini monopoly on the meat market in that certain section. But
it's fucking horrifying.
The bone room, right? There's a room where I don't know. I think it's called the burning room. There's a 2-story system, And on the top, there's like some sort of machine that spits out bones. And then on the bottom, there's people that literally run underneath this entire grate, picking up bones that fall off. And you can just be hit in the head by a bone.
It's
so strange. It's
very
so weird.
Sharp fucking bones.
It's called It's called Area 51 because they send all the immigrants who can't speak English there because you don't need to speak to be able to do anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
This place sounds fucking horrifying.
I think it's still open as well. Let me Google that real quick.
Oh my gosh. I am not comfortable with that.
The pay was really fucking good though.
Was it?
I mean, yeah, it was like twice like minimum wage. I worked a day and I got like $400.
I am surprised because usually in places like that, the pay is not even that good either.
Like I worked a half day and I got $400.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
That's fucked. I mean, I had a not similar case, but like the job where I was paid the most for was when I was working in a fucking milk depot and I was packing orders for like hospitals and shit.
Do you mean depot?
What did I say?
Depot.
Oh.
Either one's fine. I think it's still opening, yeah. I think it's still
there
running.
You go. Alright, somehow this next fucking syndrome is going to be worse than that fucking working condition, but here we go. This is my last one. It's called Stendhal syndrome. And it is a psychosomatic, oh my god, my brain just melted there. It's a psychosomatic illness that is seemingly only temporary. The syndrome occurs when a person is exposed to a very large amount of art in one place.
Okay.
Or if a person is in an environment with extreme beauty. People who suffer from the disorder report that their heartbeat will rapidly increase, an overwhelming wave of anxiety and confusion will hit them, along with dizziness and even hallucinations.
They just have like an existential crisis on how awestruck they are at this beautiful art.
That's exactly right.
That's crazy.
And I just thought that, like, what if this happened a bunch in the olden days? What did they put on the reports for that? This guy
probably hysteria
died in a hospital from looking at the Mona Lisa too hard.
I mean, I've had that with like certain like media games and all that, where I'll like literally just shed a tear because I'm like, wow, this is impactful. Like, I'll play a game and I don't realize what it's trying to tell me until I realize it. And I'm like, fuck, dude, like that's deep, you know?
I don't think that's the same.
No, like I'm awestruck by art, you know? Like I'm like, oh,
this is literally, it sends you into a hallucinatory panic.
It has to be related though. Like there has to be some sort of connection.
I think that's like, if it is wired wrong, that's what happens. If you're wired right, in your case, you see some art and you bust a tear and you're like,
that has to be,
damn, this is beautiful.
I'm thinking that's like a physical thing, like, because that sounds an awful lot like what happens when your vagus nerve is stimulated. Like I think it's vagus nerve is like, or vagal nerve is, it's connected to your heart, and when it's stimulated, you start panicking, you start having like a meltdown, you have hallucinations because your brain is operating weirdly, and it kind of sounds like there are people that just have like vagal kind of like imperfections, right, and then they are awestruck, and that somehow stimulates the vagal nerve, and then they just fucking die.
That's fucking terrifying
to
think about. All right, so what's the takeaway message from today's episode? Be careful when you go to the art museum next. And yes, brains are fucking terrifying things that you have no control over, and you could potentially get any one of these at any point. Sleep well, people.
Yeah.
Enjoy your trip home.
Your trip home.
You know, because I'm guessing you're in the car listening to this, or you're on the train or something. Don't think too much about these things, because then they might get you. See you later, everyone. Sleep well. Night-night. Bye.